There you are. Hello,
Hello.
gorgeous. Hi. Sophie, I just want to say also that Sophie also came to HBD via Cath, Mrs. Add to Basket. And we talked the other day, Sophie, and you said that you thought that's amazing. You started following Cath because I think you came across Wise, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Wise clothing. And you thought Cath looked so bubbly and so alive and so sunny. And so you had a look at her on Instagram as well and thought, well, she's, lucky thing, she's always looked like that. And then you started seeing her before and after inspo on Fridays.
Yes, I saw one of her swimsuit before and afters, and it was about 3 days before we were going on holiday. We were going to Greece, and I saw it and messaged her because one of the worries I had was, would I have to do exercise? Because with ME, CFS, you have to be, sometimes if you do too much activity, it triggers this post-exertion malaise, which is a worsening of the symptoms. And she messaged me back and very kindly and said, no, you don't have to do anything. In fact, you're advised not to do anything for the first kind of 12 weeks. I was like, yep, that's a bit of me. It sounds right up my street. So I had this funny feeling, when you look at something and you read a bit more about it, and I just thought, I think this is, for me, I think this is going to work. And then
you felt it in your gut.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
And kind of definitely when we were on holiday, I kind of had been we were in Greece, so you could eat lots of fresh fish and vegetables, but I kind of started getting tempted by the bread basket. And probably on the last day of our holiday, I looked about 8 months pregnant. My belly was like rock hard. And I think within 2 days of getting back, I started and kind of haven't really looked back since then. So yeah, thank you to Cath and to you
thank you, Cath. Cath's amazing, isn't she? She's so inspiring. And you're so inspiring, Sophie. You know what you've done and what's changed in your life is just fantastic.
Thank you. That's very kind to say.
No, it's very kind of you to do this. Really appreciate it. I know it's a bit nerve-wracking, but yeah, no, you're great and you look so lovely, and it's really, really nice to see you almost in real life. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's HBD has been pretty transformative for me, really. First, I was a classic post-viral case. I developed ME/CFS after getting ill, never recovering. Probably similar, this was 11 years ago. My daughter was about 8. I was in a new job. And similar to many women of kind of in your late 30s, early 40s, juggling childcare, working, you kind of never really give yourself time to recover. And I'd kind of, in the previous few years, I'd kind of never really, it had taken me a while to recover from various illnesses. And I never really realised just how bad fatigue could be and how isolating and how life-changing it is as an illness. And probably for about 4 years, I'd say I was pretty much bedbound for about 70% of the time. Over the winter, I'd probably say 6 days out of 7. In the summertime, slightly better, maybe 5 days out of 7. So it was it really kind of, when you're like that, you really think that that's it. Kind of, you can't see how life's going to go back, and you wish you hadn't taken your health for granted, for sure. And it makes you really value your friends and family that are close by and stick around you.
And you've got a very supportive hubby by the sound of it.
Yeah, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Kind of, he was working on the emergency services, so doing shift work, but kind of coming in, cooking. Some days I didn't have the energy even to cut up my food because I lost a lot of strength in my hands and arms, and just got on with it. Just does kind of, it's in sickness and in health, isn't it? But I know that some people find that a real challenge.
Yeah, some people just push off. So he's a good one. He's a really good one. And is he a good
Well, it's 25 years in a few months, so
5 years.
25
years. Fantastic. Congratulations. That is a long time, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, definitely know each other by now.
Yes, I think so.
So one of the things you told me, Sophie, was that you knew that you had to eat, but when you ate, before, when you were still really, really poorly, you found that you were absolutely exhausted afterwards, and it made you very bloated and everything hurt. So how on earth did you get past that when you first started HBD? It must have been really.
I think in probably like the previous 2 years before starting HBD, I'd started to get some energy back. So I was able to eat a bit more, and it kind of, but still I was generally only eating kind of within like a window of about 4 hours a day. So I'd still have berries and Greek yogurt for breakfast, say at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which obviously isn't very different to HBD, but actually I was having a massive bowl of berries because I wanted to make sure I was getting nutrients into my body, and I was having kind of quite a few big spoonfuls of Greek yogurt as well, because that was something easy that I could chuck in the microwave, defrost. I didn't require any effort for me to make. So kind of it kind of, but then it triggered my symptoms kind of, so then I kind of, it's almost like you got a bit scared of eating different things because you didn't, it's like the trade-off between what can I eat, but then what's going to give me the capacity to be able to have a bath or get changed or brush my teeth. It's kind of, when you're doing those real basic day-to-day living activities, you don't really have much choice in what you can do.
No, you don't, do you? And did you find that yogurt, when you started HBD, did you have a period without dairy, or did you? Yes, you did. And
I cut out dairy and gluten. Initially, I did start eating a bit more dairy after I kind of dipped my toe in the water, didn't really go back to bread. And I think you messaged me in January this year and just said, really try and do 6 months without any dairy or gluten. And actually, it's not for me. I've tried with yogurt, and that immediately is no good. I might have a bit of cheese every now and again, and I think I can tolerate maybe every few weeks having little bits, but certainly not in kind of the amounts that I was having. And
it's really interesting that yogurt kind of got you through in a way, didn't it? Because it was all you could cope with. But then you find actually it wasn't really your friend at all.
Absolutely. And interestingly, I was thinking about this the other day. My daughter was allergic to lactose when she was a baby, and it's kind of like, oh gosh, well, that's got to have come from somewhere, i.e. me, probably. And interestingly, when I was pregnant, I really craved milkshakes.
Weird.
So it's very strange, and I kind of am quite happy now. My daughter can't believe I haven't drunk a cup of normal tea in 18 months because I used to drink tons of it, and now I'm just happy with hot water or peppermint tea or something. So yes, So
you started HBD more than a year ago. Was it 14 or 15?
I started it in July 23. So yes, about 15, 16 months.
And you said that your energy was already slightly better when you started HBD, so you weren't kind of flattened every time you ate something.
No. I started to see slow increases, but the more I read about it and kind of following people on Instagram and seeing that people had real successes with their health and more energy and reduction in inflammation, that kind of really gave me that kind of really made me feel like, no, this is definitely kind of going to make a difference. And when I very first got ill, I tried cutting out dairy and gluten, but I think I was just in that acute stage of illness where actually I could have done anything, kind of all the different things that I tried, nothing would have worked, I don't think, because my body was just in such a state of disrepair and I think your plan gives the framework in which you can cut out certain food groups and be confident that you're not missing anything else out in your diet, so you're not depriving yourself of any nutrients. And that questionnaire that I filled in for the researcher just showed kind of how nutrient rich the plan is.
Tell about that. That was Manchester Metropolitan University.
Yes.
And how did you hear about it? They put out something in the paper and you saw it. They were looking for people to analyze the nutrients in their diet. Is that right?
Yeah, they're doing a study. I'm not entirely sure what's on, but they were looking for control subjects, and I just thought, oh well, I'll fill that in because I weigh my food anyway. I still do weigh my food because I've got a tendency to be a bit heavy-handed because I do like my food. So I thought, well, that won't take much effort to do. So kind of, you wanted 3 days worth of food diary. One day had to be a weekend, so that was my Sunday, which was I'm in phase 4 now, so that was one of my more relaxed days. And then a Monday and a Tuesday. And basically had to log all the food, give as much detail as possible. And being on HBD, that was really straightforward. You could put it down to the gram. sent it off, and he kind of said, "Oh, do you want an analysis?" And I kind of said, "Yes, please. Quite interested to know." And when he came back and said, "Wow, this is the most nutrient dense kind of food diary we've seen in this study," which we know, but because unless you track your micronutrients, some people love that and do that, I'm sure, but I'm not going to spend my time doing that. But it was really so good to see that. And for someone that didn't know that that's what I was doing as well, it was just literally, this is what I eat, kind of analyze it and have it kind of. So yes,
exactly. No, and for anybody who hasn't seen, have a look at Sophie's post. I think it was about a month ago, Sophie.
Yes, yeah.
And it was like you said, it was a slightly different Friday inspo. So do have a look at that, everyone. It's really fascinating. And Sophie shared her food diary with me, and I was very amused to see the homemade hummus and the chickpea flatbread. It's come out HBD classics now. Was that from Narelle's recipe?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, and my hummus, I do put tahini in my hummus, but I'm in phase 4 now, so I can mix those proteins.
Yeah, you can put whatever you like in your hummus.
Yes.
Yeah. So Narelle is midlife, real life for any newbies here who don't know. And she's an absolute whiz in the kitchen, and she's very good at filming herself, filming the food without getting in the way of the camera, so you can actually see what she's doing, which I think is real art. And I'm going to start practicing that secretly. Yeah.
I'd be an absolute disaster on that front.
Yeah. And you've got a little bit of rosé here, a little gin and lemonade.
My Sunday.
That was your Sunday. And then nice cherries and walnuts and black pepper for breakfast. Very, very good. And then fish and broccoli and steamed beans and loads of different vegetables, usually at each meal, 4 or 5 different ones, which is so good for your microbes as well.
Yeah.
How wonderful you got that. Did it take a long time to come back to you with the analysis?
Yeah, not too long. It was about a week or so. So yes, it was really good to hear. And I think it's really good for everyone in the community to see it as well, because it's kind of, yes, the weight loss is kind of what draws people in. It did for me, because I'm classic, kind of like mid-40s. The middle-age spread was kind of getting wider and wider, and because I couldn't exercise, clothes were getting a bit uncomfortable. So that was my initial thing, but actually kind of the health benefits are kind of what's kept me here, and the weight stays off, so it's completely sustainable.
No, that's fantastic. And I guess, well, perhaps, I don't know if you'd already come across Claire Diet Health Fitness, if you already knew that it might have a good effect on conditions like ME.
Yes, I'd seen her posts, and she's kind of a real inspiration. And I think it's being mindful as well that recovery is for so many things, recovery is never a linear process. It's always going to be like up and down and a bit squiggly. So it's kind of, but I can see kind of, certainly my immediate family have noticed, some of my close friends have noticed. They kind of said, "Oh, it's so good to have you back. Kind of, I've really missed you." And it kind of, it's kind of, it's just so nice to be able to start living life a little bit as well.
Yeah, so lovely. And it must have been amazing for your husband to see you coming back and see that sparkle in your eyes again.
Yeah, so and actually that happened quite quickly, because I think it was even after about maybe 5 days of phase 2. Normally, because I've also got fibromyalgia as well, it kind of, you wake up and you just feel like you've been hit by a bus, and kind of takes a good like half an hour to get out of bed. Kind of then it takes like another couple of hours to kind of warm up and be able to move with ease. But actually, I woke up and I said to my husband, "It feels really weird. I feel like I can just get up," and it's kind of. So really early, it's kind of, and I guess that's about reducing the inflammation. Kind of, that's the thing that's kind of really working on that. And I've noticed as well, like I still get post-exertional malaise, but it's shorter. My recovery time from doing activities is quicker. So I'm just hoping that over time I'll be able to do more, and it won't take so long to recover from. And it's just bearing in mind and not pushing myself too quickly.
No, even though it's very tempting, isn't it? When you start doing something, some kind of exercise, you want to kind of go the whole hog, but you know that you have to be careful. But at the same time, your daughter very rudely said to you, "Mum, you've got no bum." And you said, "Well, that's spending 10 years in bed. So you're doing some work
Exactly.
now. Yeah. That's what happens. I remember my dad said to me when I was about 8 years old, "You've got a great bottom for a kilt," and I thought, well, that's really lovely because he's Scottish, and he said it really sticks out, and I thought, oh no, I don't want a bottom that really sticks out. It's like a very disappointing sort of good bottom story,
Yeah.
really.
Well, I can
um,
remember when we were young, kind of the body shape was to be very thin. Like in the 90s,
yes,
kind of as a teenager, it was to be totally, to not have a bottom,
not
wasn't it? So
at
it's,
all. So you lost, how much did you lose in total, Sophie?
I think I lost about 11
11 kilos.
kilos. So one of the things that, because I was thinking, is it going to work for me? But one of your case studies in the book was about somebody who didn't really have that much weight to lose, because I was in my BMI was like regular, but it was at the high end.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I just wanted just to be more comfortable. But reading that case study gave me the confidence to think, actually, yes, it can work for me. And I lost more weight than I was planning, but actually that suits me. It works for me, and it's what I've stayed at pretty much since October last year, bar the odd kilo up or down. So I don't want to lose any more. I'm not bothered about putting any back on. I kind of feel that I'm at a healthy balance at the moment.
No, you look amazing. I love that photo of you in your denim jumpsuit. So energy now is better than it was, but you still have to be careful, like you said. And city breaks, you tend to use, well, you take a wheelchair with you in case you need it. So
Yes,
it's
I am. Being a typical type A personality, I refused to use a wheelchair for quite a long time because I hated it. I hated the fact that I'd lost my independence. I didn't want to be reliant on my husband to push me around. I'd always seen myself very much as an equal. And it also, as well, it's quite uncomfortable being in a wheelchair because you're jumbling around,
yeah,
kind of, it's not the most comfortable time to be spending. But HBD kind of has given me the confidence to start living life more and just getting back out there. I spent like probably 9 years pretty much within like a quarter-of-mile radius from my house, and now it's kind of like, right, once I accepted about using the wheelchair and found that it was okay, it's kind of like, right, just get out there again. So last September, buoyed by my increase in energy, it's
yeah.
like, right, let's go on a city break, and booked the airport assistance, took the wheelchair on the plane. Valencia was just beautiful to be a wheelchair person in because it was so flat. It was easy for my husband to push me around when we needed. And it's kind of given me the confidence to do more of that. So rather than feeling like a burden or an inconvenience, it's kind of actually, no, I need to start living my life.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's too short to be just stuck at home. And even though I still have to plan things carefully, I'm not going out and kind of every night. Sometimes my daughter and husband would go out for dinner because I needed to rest, and that's fine. It's kind of, this is how our family is and how we do our holidays.
Yeah.
But it's given me the confidence to do those things again.
Well, it's so lovely to hear. It really is. But you have got that underlying kind of bubble of joy or optimism or, positivity, which must have really helped you in those dark days. It was a long time, wasn't it? 10
Yes,
years.
I think it's I'm one of those annoyingly positive people. Definitely glass half full, and always stop problem solving and kind of trying to find the solution, which is good. But when you have an illness that doesn't have much research behind it, has quite a negative press, it's really hard when you can't find the solution and you can't find the cure. So I spent quite a lot of time in those early days desperately searching the internet for cures and things that would help. And because so many people fall under the umbrella of ME/CFSS, it's a bit of it's a diagnosis of exclusion. So if you don't have X, Y, and Z on your blood tests, then this is probably what it could be. So it's really hard to get that research, or it's really hard to get to know what's going to work for you, because the umbrella is so big and it contains so many people from all different kind of routes, if you see what I mean.
No, exactly. And I don't think that you got much help from the docs or from the ME clinic. You said your functional scale was 30%, moderate to severe.
Yes, there's an ME functional ability scale. I can't remember the name of the doctor who did it. I was at 30%, probably for about 80% of the year. So that's like on the moderate to severe scale. So it runs like, yeah, moderate, severe and mild. And then it kind of, in the summertime, I'd be more on the moderate scale, but bordering severe. So yeah, it's pretty ill.
And do you take any supplements? I'm just thinking about vitamin D. I wonder if that would help you through the winter.
Yes. Always take vitamin D. I take magnesium. When I first got ill, I took all the supplements because you're just desperate to kind of make sure you've got everything. B12, what else? I'm trying to think. And then just a general multivitamin as well. I kind of just keep it simple now, because otherwise you can just get overwhelmed, really, I think. And I do have blood tests every year, because I actually had half my thyroid removed. And I was really hoping that would have been the solution to my problem. I kind of woke up after surgery and I was thinking, am I going to be okay? Maybe it's a thyroid problem that they haven't done, because some people do say kind of it could be a thyroid issue, but obviously you can't get referred because your blood's normal. But it wasn't the thyroid. My thyroid seems, half my thyroid is functioning perfectly, which is brilliant.
That is brilliant. Thank goodness for that. Yeah. Thank goodness. Somebody just said, I've forgotten about this supplement. Kate Lucas said, have you tried Nutri Muscles? So good for fibro pain.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Is it a magnesium based
thing?
It
is. It's got some sort of sweetener in, but it doesn't matter because you're in phase 4 now. I mean, it's nothing nasty.
My pain is much reduced. I'm on nortriptyline for pain, for nerve pain. And I've been on that since I got ill. I was actually trying to reduce my dose just because I was concerned about the long-term effects of being on it. And actually I started to reduce it, but the pain levels didn't increase, which is brilliant. But my fatigue levels really, really increased. So I think I just need to plan trying to just keep testing it every now and again, and plan when I'm going to do it, really. So but I was really pleased that my pain levels didn't increase as I tried to reduce it, which I think is because the overall inflammation is low in my body now.
Yeah, exactly. And what did they advise you to do when you felt really like you said, being run over by a bus in the ME clinic?
Yeah, they told me just to eat a digestive biscuit. It might give me a bit more energy. At that point, I knew that was not for me.
You knew. How did you know that? Thank goodness you were in tune.
Well, I think anyone with half a brain would think, hang on a minute, giving me more sugar and living off false energy is going to solve my problems. That's not going to work.
Sugar and wheat, not really, not such a good idea. Anyway, well done, because a lot of us would have just thought, well, that's what they're saying, so I'll do that. They wouldn't think, that doesn't sound quite right to me. So well done you, Sophie.
Yeah.
They're really incredible. And you said that HBD not only gave your confidence back, but also kind of allowed you to be kinder to yourself, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a really gradual process. I think as women, we're always and I've never really done diets particularly. I've always been everything in moderation. Previously I was active, cycling everywhere or whatever, so I've never been a person that's kind of always tried every single diet. But I think we're kind of taught to deny ourselves of things, or that we shouldn't be allowed to have things, or and I think we put our needs last an awful lot of the time, because when you're caring for children, or I don't know, but HBD I think nurturing myself with good food, it something clicked in my brain that it's it's okay, it's all right to look after myself, which sounds really weird, doesn't it? But I think it's kind of like, the more you do that and the more you take care of yourself, it becomes a really good pattern. So it's kind of all of those years of media or societal influences are slowly chipping away, really. So it's like, no, it's okay, it's good.
It's good. It's easy to, I know exactly what you're talking about, to slip back into bad habits, because Ricardo's away at the moment. He's away for quite a few days, and so I think, oh good, well, I'm not going to do any cooking or washing up. And he said, no, hang on a sec, you've got to look after yourself whether he's here or not. Not just looking after him. And I was always impressed by a girlfriend of mine, Gloria, who, you know, cooks quite elaborate meals for herself every day. And, you know, this was years ago, and I just didn't get it. But now, yeah, I think that you understand as well. It's very important to get joy out of food.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to, you know, to eat nutritious food that actually gives you pleasure at the same time.
Yeah,
And I know
definitely.
that, yeah, and you and your hubby are both quite, well, I don't know if you describe yourself as foodies, but you both care about food, which really helps,
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely.
Yeah.
And we both kind of love cooking and kind
Yeah.
of always cook. We've always cooked from scratch. That's HBD wasn't really much, wasn't
No,
difficult for us because we've always cooked from scratch. And it was just kind of, so that wasn't too much of a transition. And yeah, really like cooking. Kind of, my husband's always kind of, well, he used to come home with loads of recipe books. Now I've kind of banned him from doing that. So now we get everything out from the library, because then you're not cluttering up the house with kind of too many. Then you can look at the books as you're kind of
yeah.
spending some time sitting down, rather than buying them all and kind of only cooking a few recipes. So now we've got stacks of books from the library kind of waiting to be tested and HBD-fied.
Oh, that's so lovely. Good. And he cooks a mean curry, I hear.
Yes, yeah, he loves cooking curry, and that's one of our regular treat meals. So, and actually, the curries that we cook are pretty HBD based. Sometimes have a bit of brown rice with mine, or vegetables. Sometimes I might have frozen. Our local Asian supermarket does these brilliant stuffed frozen parathas, which are really lovely. And that's kind of, I know that's got gluten in it, which I tend to avoid, but one of those every few weeks doesn't seem to trigger me too much. Now I've had that kind of now I don't really have it in my diet that much. But yes, love cooking curries, and I think that's kind of, I use a pressure cooker as well, so that's kind of been a real revelation in terms of, and it works so well with HBD because you can do all your pulses from dry, so it's really good for money saving as well. So if you're on a budget, kind of, there are ways to cook in a way that's budget friendly as well.
No, that's fantastic. Really, really good. Thank you so much, Sophie. Do you think we should have a scroll through and see if there are any questions for you?
I've just seen Victoria's Gentle Life has said that HBD reunited me and Sophie after 20 years. I knew Victoria. I met Victoria about 20 odd years ago at one of my friends' weddings, and I saw Victoria pop up on HBD, and I was like, hang on a minute.
So
I know you.
Yeah, how amazing. Incredible. So 20 years ago. That's fantastic. And HBD Long COVID Health Recovery says, fabulous life, and you are looking so well, Sophie.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
you. Sweet. HBD is superb at helping to rewire positive mindset. That's your friend Victoria's Gentle Life as well.
I think it's,
let's see.
I think because our brain isn't getting scrambled with the ultra processed food, I think that has got to have something to do with it. Because one of the things that I love about HBD as well is that you literally go into the supermarket or wherever, you walk down, pick up protein, pick up vegetables, walk back out again. Yeah. So you're not even, I see it, I'm a bit of a, I don't know, it's quite nice being an anti-consumer, because you're not kind of, you're not targeted by adverts, you're just literally just eating good food. You're not kind of, it's like, oh, should I try that? Should I eat this? There's none of that. You just get on and eat the nice food and enjoy your life. It's kind of,
that saves a lot of energy, doesn't it? Yeah, no, really good. A lot of energy and thinking, well, I don't have to think about that anymore.
Yeah.
What a relief. Lana Spinks. And you're such a motivator, Sophie. Have me a good kick up the bum the other week with your reset. That's Victoria.
Yes, I did a reset in September. The summer, I got a little bit snacky in the afternoons in the summer, and I did just a 1 week reset, and it just immediately got me back to in the right
After
mindset.
A week. Fantastic.
Yeah. And I only needed to. I didn't really particularly want to lose weight, only like a kilo or something.
Yeah.
But it was more the mental kind of thing that just got me back on track.
Yeah, so, yeah. Really, really, really good. Okay, so losing it at 50, Lara says, what do you have for treat meals, please, Sophie?
Yeah, maybe things like curries. I do sometimes have these homemade lamb burgers, which were a real core family meal that we always used to have on a Saturday night with me, my daughter and my husband, watching Strictly Come Dancing. Lovely. So sometimes we'll have that and chips, and it's kind of, that's the thing. You can still do HBD with your family. You don't have to miss out on things or kind of feel like you've got to eat differently. So that's the wonderful thing about the treat meals, is that you can still have those meals that are part of your family life.
Yes, that's fabulous. And then another question from Lara. Sophie, what is your favourite HBD meal and what have you changed in phase 4?
Oh gosh, so many favourite HBD meals. Probably for ease, something like sea bass and green vegetables, and actually things like sea bass got me through phase 2 for sure, because having the nice oily skin kind of really kind of gives you that real kind of the oil that you feel you're missing. So yeah, simple things. Yeah, fish and vegetables, love salads, kind of find them so easy in the summertime. You just literally just grab a selection of stuff. But I must admit, I do find the transition into autumn and winter a little bit difficult, because you just have to plan a little bit more, don't you? And think a bit more about what you're going to eat. You can't be so relaxed.
No, yeah, planning is all, really is. HBD Blossom says, I'm in week 3 of phase 3, off dairy and gluten, as I have high thyroid antibodies. What would you recommend for treat meals? Well, you could have coconut cream. I hope you like coconut. That's a really good substitute. Also, do we still need to stick to the permitted food list when having a treat meal? No, definitely not, HBD Blossom. A treat meal is a treat meal, so you have whatever you fancy, but obviously for you, no dairy, no gluten because of the thyroid antibodies. But other than that, anything goes. And the most important part about the treat meal is that you enjoy it. That's really, really key. HBD Justice Sprinkle, do you still have any bed days? You look fab, Sophie.
Yeah, I do. Over the summer, probably 1 day a week in bed. Actually, because I had quite a busy week last week, and we had friends round for lunch on Saturday. I was actually in bed on Sunday and Monday and half of today, but not feeling so wiped out that I couldn't speak, kind of. So I still have those bed days, but they're not as severe as they were. And I think it's always going to be a kind of a mixture of being in bed. And I think listening to your body and not pushing yourself. I think that pushing myself is the thing that got me into trouble in the first place. And I think when you're at that moderate or severe end, when you're so poorly, kind of you're so mindful about not pushing yourself, because you don't want to spend any more time in that state. So it's kind of, my husband might laugh when I say, oh yeah, I'm much better at not pushing myself, because he's the one that tells me to stop pushing myself, and he knows when I've overdone it, because the swear factor goes up, kind of. And I'm starting to get a bit tired, but I'm still refusing to give up what I'm trying to do.
Does swearing help?
It does in the moment.
I think it does, yeah. No, that's really lovely. Thank you so much, Sophie. You've been such a lovely, lovely person to have on the live, and so inspiring, and it's so lovely to see you looking so well. And that
thank you. It's an absolute pleasure and absolute joy, and I'm forever grateful that I found you and HBD, because it's kind of, I genuinely would not go back to how I ate before. Not that it was particularly bad, but I think it just kind of, you just feel so much better, and kind of my friends are just bored of me boring them about HBD, because whenever they say anything, I was like, have you tried HBD? Or kind of, and even now my daughter, kind of, she's doing professional dance training at the moment. So obviously she can't do HBD because effectively she's an athlete, but kind of tweaking her diet so that she has more protein and vegetables in, so that she doesn't get that such a dip in the afternoons when she's been dancing all day. So you can apply it to kind of so many different lifestyles, I think. So yes, I'm forever thankful that I stumbled across Cath, and just the community as well. Kind of, so many people are generous with their time in the early days. Kind of, everyone gets back to you when you're kind of, if you drop them a message, or kind of, there's that real, everyone wants everybody to succeed, because they know how well it works, and there's no gatekeeping. Kind of, everyone, there's kind of, people want to see people have success. You become everyone's cheerleader, I think.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It's really lovely. We're blessed by each other, for sure.
Yes, you've created a very nice corner of the internet here.
Yeah, we have. We're doing a good job. But thank you so much, lovely Sophie. It was it was a real pleasure talking to you, and thank you for your inspiration. And thank you again, lovely Sophie. Thank you.
You're welcome, and lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Bye, sweet. Bye. Bye.